mere plane crash could keep our intrepid girls and a few dudes down.
When season 3 kicks off, some time has passed, and I was wondering if you had any big burning questions for the showrunners, just to kind of fill in that gap for yourself so you knew where they needed to be when episode 1 of season 3 started.
It's interesting. I feel like we went into season 3 and I just felt settled already. I just knew that I was going to be a bit of a wallflower and that I was just going to be an observer. And I don't know why I knew that. Maybe just the Lottie intuition. But I didn't really have many questions like going in. I knew where she like left season 2 and the guilt she was feeling and palming off the responsibility of leadership. She's trying to rein it in.
Oh, I'm coming back to some of that.
Yeah, for me, I didn't have questions either because I think, first of all, in that first episode, they give us a really good like understanding of kind of what's happened in between, but also Travis is feeling grief. What's new? You know, like tough guy. Like and you know that it's piling and piling and piling on him. So it's just like I knew after season 2 that it was going to be heavy. Like, it just was.
It is. I'll feel for them.
Yeah.
Before I start to dig into all those layers, I am really curious to hear about the production design because seeing a new set was really something special, and I tend to get really obsessed with tiny details. So are there any small details in that production design that perhaps people might miss the first time around, but I don't know, they just meant something to you or contribute to filling out their world?
I personally loved my hut. I love that it's in the middle. And
Which one is your hut?
Mine's the one
door?
with
The circle.
almost
Circle.
the eye.
Okay.
And I always looked at it as like the third eye of like, I don't know. It was just like the perfect
like
witch tent.
Yeah, at one point seeing you sit in it in the season
Yeah,
was
and
so
I like
cool.
sit in it like the moon kind
cool.
of, and it just feels right. And I saw it and I was like, that's mine, isn't it? And they were like, yes, we've had so much fun making
now
it.
that you called it a witch tent.
Yes.
Yeah, and for me it was there is an insert of it during that whole opening sequence at one point where seeing it there's this like really cool like ancient architecture book that you see, and it kind of is like I think it's either Bart or Jonathan who brought it up, being like we're keeping this right here so that people understand that like you guys, you know, you figured out how to do this with something. You had some guidance.
And it's pretty impressive.
And so it's cool, like what we built, but they have that one shot of that archecture book just to help us along the way. The ancient architecture book. It's there.
That. I'm going to find that the next time around. All right, to dig into their headspaces now a little. Courtney, first question is for you, and you kind of described her as a wallflower before. Can you dig a little deeper in terms of like her place in the hierarchy? Because I do see the wallflower part, but it's almost like, to me, she seems to have like lost some confidence, but people are still listening to her and seem to respect her for the most part.
Yeah, talking with Bart and Ashley this season, they kind of described Lottie as like the Pope, and then Natalie as like the state.
Yeah.
And I think she's trying to blend in and take that pressure off, but she's just someone who people naturally gravitate towards. And I think she comes into the season with a lot of guilt of what happened to Javi and how her words were misconstrued by Misty. And the pressure that she put on Shauna, and just that she doesn't know who she is. And granted, what like 16, 17-year-old girl does. Yeah. But I think that's her main question of the season of, is she a better version in the wilderness, or if she were to go home? And I think she answers that for herself this year.
So before I go for my other question, I'm actually going to throw that to you now.
Yeah.
'Cause that was another question I wrote down. This is the shortest question I wrote down in my mile-long list of notes was, what does Travis want this season?
He really wants to go home. Like you just know he does. Like he's so pulled back now. There's a part of him that doesn't feel connected to almost anyone anymore, and that's really scary to be in that place. And I do believe that almost every decision we see him make this year, it is in a hope ditch effort that like life's not over yet for him. Ooh. And I always say this, like I believe that, you know, his will to live is so commendable. Because like with everything he's gone through,
he's lost half of his family.
Everyone, and so it's like that really sits with him all season, and it never goes away.
Oh, My heart just breaks for them. I'm trying to back pocket this other question I had for you, but I do want to follow up on that as well, because this seems to be like an evergreen Yellowjackets question that I hear new answers to each time we come back for another season. For Travis and for Lottie, who in season 3 do they trust the most, and who do they fear the most?
It's so scary for Travis because I believe the person he trusts the most is also the one he becomes to be fearful of the most, which is Lottie. I do believe that at the opening of the season, that's how he feels, you know? I think he does trust her because he is trying to understand his feelings.
You see them open up and be raw and...
They're like kids for a whole second, you know? And then it's just not there anymore. And I think that's his fear comes in really quick. And I do believe that, you know, overall, I think he's fearful of the unit more than one person. The unit of everyone is like he cannot compete. There is no competition there. He is on his own. Yeah.
I think the person that she trusts and distrusts the most this year is the wilderness. I think that is just her biggest enemy this year until it's not.
Ooh.
Until it's not.
I was wondering, because there's that early scene with the two of you where Travis says, like, don't you hear it? And she says it's not real. And of all people, I wouldn't think Lottie would ever say, like, no, that's not real.
She's really struggling at the beginning of the season, I think, with where she stands with the wilderness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fascinating to me. All right, so now I kind of want to tease what's to come, and I'm going to get at it this way. So you've been on this show for 3 seasons now. You know how talented all of your co-stars are. But I want to know, is there anything someone did in season 3 that you would tell viewers, like, look out for that because you thought they were good, but you will not believe what they do in that episode?
Ooh. Oh my God, the season is so juicy and there are so many moments. Oh, that is, like, delicate to talk about.
Yeah.
I think there's a real power that comes through Sophie Thatcher this year that is just, like, also she's my best friend, so I'm just going to say it and plug it. But I think she just, like, holds her own and just brings this fear that is unexpected. You're like, oh, you're scary on another level. There's Lottie and then there's Shauna.
She's scary.
Yeah.
I saw her for a comedy at Sundance, and it just made me feel good for her. You're like, she's also had that.
Happiness.
You also got that. For me, it's Mari and Alexa, and to see what's to come with Mari, because you know we've slowly gotten to know her over 2 seasons, and then to see.
So
it just come in with, there's just so much in that character that we haven't seen before come through, which I'm really excited for everyone to see.